Today, we're going to discuss the looming relationship crises in the US and how modern women are in for a tough time in the coming decades. And with that, we're also going to be discussing the top 7 reasons why modern women are going to face a challenge finding men to date and to settle down with. Number 1. Increasing populations of single working women. The first reason is the biggest reason since it's based on research and fact. By 2030, 45% of working women between the ages of 25 and 45 would still be unmarried, childless, and single, according to a recent study. So, you could ask, what's wrong with that? Okay, good luck to you if you think that since you earned money and accumulated wealth, you will be genuinely satisfied with your life at age 45, unmarried, and childless. By 2030, more than half of women between the ages of 25 and 44 who are of marriageable age will live single lives for the remainder of their lives. They will be childless and unmarried at those ages in 2030, which is a fairly high incline. They are so confident in this, in fact, that Morgan Stanley commissioned a study so that its investors would know where to put their money over the coming 10 years. According to society, we would regret not having children at the end of our lives because life is so happy and blessed. I recently came across this article written by a nurse who had a heart-to-heart with her senior patients and also found out how their own families perceive them as a burden. There are now the top 5 things that people regret most when they die. Number 2, the quality of relationships is on a decline. Relationships have gone so lousy that people no longer marry and live together for the remainder of their lives, even in traditionally conservative nations. Thailand has one of the highest rates of cheating worldwide. I don't encourage partnerships in the dating world because most women don't offer much value to guys. If the woman you end up with can quickly vanish from your life, why would I advise couples to get together and promote international travel in the first place? You cannot presume that everyone in your country is like the woman from whom you are attempting to flee if you ever face hardship. Remember that you can't escape social media. As a result, individuals around the world experience the same level of decadence as us, and both countries are seeing an increase in the number of single women and men. One could anticipate their birth rate being stable given their conservatism and emphasis on family. There are consequently more single men and women than ever before. Number 3, entire populations are on a decline. I've come to the conclusion that China's policy of limiting the number of children a couple can have may be the root of the nation's population growth issues, as ironic as that might be. The dating scene is not in a promising state right now. In fact, romance and marriage are on the decline, as is clear from recent research on the increase in single men and women in China. A modern Chinese city's regulations should take into account the growing number of people who live alone. If I'm being totally honest, that sounds like a horror movie's opening. The maintenance of the family name is prized in traditional Chinese society. Therefore, when their kids are ready to get married, parents tend to get involved. The one-child restriction is strengthened as the country is destroyed. The age of being single stands in stark contrast to this reality. Numerous kids wind up disappointing their parents as a result of the recognized trend of singleness among Chinese adolescents. The conversation about single women in their 30s is typically negative. The term leftover women is overused in China's popular culture, which has made parents of unmarried women more anxious and put more pressure on their children. The fact that Chinese men and women have trouble getting pregnant while having a family structure and being under pressure to have children fascinates me. I don't get why having children would be a problem if you don't have the media and a goal to ruin families, like how it is in the West. Since neither I nor anybody I know now resides in China, I could be mistaken about the country's dating environment, but it still amazes me that they experience the same problems as people in the West. The younger generation might have been discouraged from beginning families as a result of the one-child restriction. Number 4, inflation and rising costs of living. The past couple of years has revealed to us that we're in the midst of a global recession. And with a war going on between Russia and Ukraine that has led to volatile oil and food markets around the world, inflation levels are only going to increase in the coming years, and this will decrease people's purchasing power. I think people are reluctant to start new romantic relationships because of the status of the economy and rising living expenses. I am unable to understand this occurrence, though. Isolation and eventual poverty are the results of individuality because oppression is more likely to succeed in a society that is weaker. Since families are the primary means by which the wealthy and powerful can ensure the continuation of their wealth and status after their deaths, the overwhelming majority of votes in favor of this proposition focused on families as the means by which their wealth is passed down from generation to generation. Number 5. Women don't believe in the family system anymore. Modern women, on the other hand, are so self-absorbed and naive that they will blow up the family, ruin the inheritance, and run with the money because they are driven to make bad choices for everyone. The Bible claims that the desire for material prosperity is the source of all evil. Future generations of women will show this by divorcing for no other reason than their own satisfaction on a regular basis. Women and family members are the weakest links since they may be wolves in sheep's clothing. The wealthy will always succeed in their endeavors. It is terrible that most of us have already reached this point or will never be able to attain elite status as a result of a woman's unwillingness to commit to a relationship. According to research, the proportion of families with just one person increased from 4.9% in 1990 to 14.5% in 2010. Of the 200 million estimated unmarried adults in China in 2018, more than a third live alone. Due to the elderly's tendency to live alone, the economy has prospered. Due to increased development and economic opportunity, the commercial and industrial sectors increasingly serve as the center of society. Number 6. People are on the move. As a result of industrialization, a large number of young people are leaving the agricultural workforce. Unprecedented levels of urbanization have occurred in rural areas, and there has been an internal movement of people from the countryside to the metropolitan urban cities that are sprawled across the large country. When we talk about dating older women who might have made bad choices in their lives or through their own will, now find themselves in a position where they're successful and have all the money they want, but have missed out on the chance of starting a family and raising kids, I think such women will find it increasingly difficult to attract men, and even if they do attract men, they're going to have a very tough time managing and keeping that relationship intact. Number 7. There's no reason for men to date single older women. Realistically, most men would not date older women if they could objectively evaluate them, determine their genuine value, and realize they are getting a bad deal. This explains why men are so often restrained by, and prevented from thinking properly by shame. I want you to know that women simply cannot handle a man who doesn't care about shame and acts in accordance with his own wishes all the time. Until men stop caring about what other women think of them in public, they will continue to experience the shame that has been created to prevent them from quitting their relationships with older women. Women who are well over the age of marriageable capacity and have not given birth are therefore hopeless. Men shouldn't be held responsible for that by society. If anything, the responsibility is on feminism, or more specifically, the radical kinds of feminism that suggested women might live their entire lives without men. So, these were 7 reasons why modern women who are single and way past their prime are going to face a tough challenge finding men to date and to settle down with. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.